Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live with your host, me, Chase Lee, and my co-host,
Ryan Sutfield.
That is correct. And this show is basically, we do a top 5 list of somebody, something fucking related to the release coming out this weekend. And this weekend, we had Trainwreck that came out. Judd Apatow, he's only directed 5 films, so guess what? All 5 of them would be on there. So we went with Ant-Man. So Ant-Man is made by Marvel. So let's do a top 5 Marvel Cinematic Universe list. I mean, why the hell not? So there's 2 things I like about this show, guys, and I think you'll really like about it too, is that one, me and Brian do not know each other's list. So every single week, it is a fucking surprise, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have tons of arguments on this one, because me and Brian are super nerdy. So we're just going to fight on this one. It's just the way it's going to go. And then, second thing about this thing that's awesome is it's live. So if you're watching live, you can comment that place rub on my face, and you can troll us. You can do whatever the hell you want. We will fight back. So let's get this started. So what we do before we get into our list is that we do some honorable mentions, and this kind of gives us a hint as to what our top 5s are going to be. So, Brian, I'm going to let you go first. Do you have any honorable mentions, a couple, a few? What you got?
I feel like if I brought up my honorable mentions, you would already know what would be on my list.
See, he's smart. He's fucking smart. So we're not going to do honorable mentions because if I started saying any, then you guys will know that which ones I picked. So, all right. So with that being said, Brian, what is your number 5?
My number 5 MCU film would be the first Iron Man.
Interesting. Okay.
It started off the entire thing. Saw it in the theater. It's a great movie. I mean, obviously, when you're a little kid, this came out when I was 10, and of course, when you see someone like Tony Stark, you're like, I want to be like this guy. And listen, people, the movie came out 7 years ago, and everyone's probably already seen it already. You know the opening where he's having sex with that really hot news reporter played by Leslie Bibb, and that laugh he does, he's like,
This is a fucking family show. Can you just calm down?
Hey, you're the one that curses. You're the one that says troll. We're going to fucking fight you back. That is what you say. I'm the one who tries to keep it family-oriented. I would, but you're not the one that's doing it, so...
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, besides that, no, but the movie is really great. Jon Favreau did a great job directing this movie. RDJ, you're a genius, man. I love you, man. You kill as Tony Stark. The action is great. The comedy is great. It's a great movie. I don't think it's the best Marvel Cinematic Universe film, obviously. People may argue that it is, but I would still say that it's a great movie. Thumbs up for me.
Okay.
And obviously, it's better than the 2 sequels.
Well, first of all, if I have to say that you kind of look like Peter Parker right now, so I'm sorry, Brian. That is.
But I don't look emo like him. I really don't look emo. So
that movie doesn't count. We're talking about Disney Marvel movies. I know you wanted to get into it here, but just. You know what's really interesting is that almost every single person I talk to has Iron Man on their list. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. It started off the entire universe.
True. Man, this is going to turn some heads. I kind of feel like we're going to get...
And that was a great year for superhero movies because 2 months after Iron Man came out, The Dark Knight came out.
True. Yeah, that was a pretty good year. Yeah, because I remember that summer, Tropic Thunder also came out.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that was a good fucking year. Brian, I want you to try guess in the realm of possibilities what my number 5 is.
This is tough.
Because you really don't know my taste, do you?
No, I really don't. This is tough. I can't. You gotta tell me your number 5, dude. I just can't do it.
Okay. It's the first Avengers.
Okay.
That's it? That's all I'm getting?
That low?
Okay, listen. I like Avengers as much as the next dude. I think it's a fun comic book movie. It's a tad overrated. Not gonna lie. I mean, we need to just dial it back a little bit and just appreciate it for what it is. And just not talk about it every 2 minutes. Kind of like The Dark Knight. I love The Dark Knight so much, but we just need to just chill a little bit. I love the Avengers a lot, and that's why I put it as my number 5. Like this was a hard list to put together because we can make an argument for all of them. I think all of them are really good movies. Some of them are a little less, energetic, I guess, as the other ones are kind of unique and they're kind of just stale. But I still like all of them. I think it's a fun movie to when you're sitting in the theater. It's one of those experiences that you'll never experience for the first time again until we get to the Justice League, where you get to see all these characters on screen for the first time. And it's magical. It's like one of those magical moments where you're just sitting there going, man, I really imagined this as a kid, but now it's coming as a reality. As when you're an adult, it's amazing. And then you can just weep and cry in the theaters like the adult you are and just be like, oh man, I really enjoy this. It's fun. And I think Loki's a great villain. Loki's not my favorite villain. I mean, I like Loki a lot, and Tom Hiddleston kills in that role. But I'll get to another villain in just a second. It's just fun. It's a fun comic book movie. There's nothing more to say except it's the awe and shock of seeing all of those people together for the very first time. And that's why I put it as my number 5, because my 4 above it, I like better. So that's all I can say. Brian, what is your number 4?
My number 4 has to be Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Now listen, here's the thing. I'm going to tell you why. As grave a movie as it is, when it came out on Blu-ray, I tried to rewatch it again. It isn't as rewatchable as like the other 3 Marvel movies that are up on my list, but it's still a fantastic freaking movie. It almost made my top 10. It was like number 12 on my top 10 of last year. It almost made the list. It was on the list for a long friggin' time. But it's a political thriller, and you get 2 comedy guys to direct this movie. The guys who made You, Me, and Dupree make Captain America: The Winter Soldier. That's like friggin' genius, and now they're directing Civil War. They're filming it as we're speaking right now. Yep. So it's a great movie. Of course, Chris Evans just kicks ass as Captain America. Scarlett Johansson, I fucking love you, babe. Sebastian Stan was really good as the Winter Soldier. Anthony Mackie was great as Falcon. Like, the entire cast in this movie was just solid. It was so different. It felt like a freaking James Bond movie in the Marvel universe, and that's what made it so great.
What do you think like the main thing was for you personally, where you watched it a second time and you're just like, that didn't really click with me as much as I thought it did? Like, what was like the one thing about it that just I don't know, kind of.
I don't know. I just felt the vibe of it. Like, I feel like it's a movie you could watch maybe once a year, not a movie you could rewatch over and over again, like the other 3 films we're going to be talking about.
Okay, I mean, that's understandable. That's the only reason why these movies are on our list, is because we remember them. They were super fun, and like or like rewatchability. Like, that's a huge part into the list like these. So it's interesting. Many people would. If you talk to anyone, Brian knows people, I know people. Actually, I don't know anyone. I don't have any friends. I mean, my only friend is Batman right there. We know a lot of people that will put Winter Soldier as their number 1 or number 2. Like, that's how popular this movie is. So it's kind of interesting that Brian put it as number 4. But then again, when I say my number 2, he might flip shit. So my number 4. Brian, if I had to be an Avenger, who do you think you'd peg me as?
Iron Man.
Really?
I don't know, because you're very cocky and you're very sarcastic. I don't know.
Why does everyone say that? No, I'd be Captain America, dog. Number 4 is the first Captain America. Ever since I saw it, it just blew me away. Because listen, I like Phase 1 as much as the next person. Iron Man was great. Incredible Hulk was great. I even like Thor. But there's something about Captain America. I love time jumping. I love having well, first of all, I'm a huge nut for like war movies and World War movies in the 40s, like in the 50s. Yeah. I love that whole like just fucking era. And so I think when you think about this idea about this guy, from this type of era jumping into our era is actually a really cool, unique idea, because he's going to have his mannerisms placed in the modern world, and he's not going to fucking fit. He's a fish out of water. And I love Chris Evans as Captain America. I think he's fantastic in the role because let's face it, Johnny Storm did not work out. So
Right.
I think him going into Captain America, he reeks of, you know, that era of personality. You know, he's got the wafty hair, and he's like, "Hello, ma'am. Like, I'm gonna go fight for our country." Like, he fit the militant aspect very well. He fit that time era pretty well. I loved just the way it was shot and just the way it looked. It felt like it was old school. I actually liked the romance between Steve and Peggy Carter.
Oh, hot, dude. She's gorgeous.
I mean, she is in like.
Do you watch the show, Agent Carter? I liked it. It's pretty good.
I'll check it out if I'm bored or if I'm.
Only 8 episodes, dude. So it's not nothing long or anything. It had some flaws, but she was amazing in it. She's so good.
That's the thing about Haley Atwell is that she's really good in that role, and I actually felt the connection there. And believe it or not, it's one of the better relationships in the entire universe. And I love the fact that he is dive bombing into this ice pit, and like it's so heartbreaking because you know that like she's never gonna have that dance, man. He's just gonna go fucking kill himself in the ice, and
then at the end of the movie, he's like, "I missed my date."
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, dude. It really is, because it's like, it kills me. It kills me emotionally, ladies and gentlemen. So that's why I like it. And plus, I have a soft spot for Hugo Weaving as Red Skull.
Oh, he's awesome. Are you kidding me? He's awesome in everything. Then Matrix, Lord of the Rings, V for Vendetta. He's even great as Megatron. He's like a cheesy, psychotic villain, but it works. So like he's not too over the top, and it's just right for that type of movie. Because like think about it, movies that were set back in the day were very over the top in a way, so it kind of works. And plus, I love the end to Captain America, waking up in that hospital and having the walls knocked down, and he's out in the middle of New York, and it's modern time, and he's like so confused and shit, and it's like, dude, what the fuck is going on? So, and then plus it had the Avengers teaser at the end of Captain America, which was fantastic. You see that shit in the theaters? Oh, that was great. Are you kidding me?
Great. It gets you pumped up for the Avengers, and you're just like, hell yeah. So Captain America, the first Avenger, is my number 4 spot. I love the character of Captain America. He's my favorite. He always has been, always, forever will be. So that's why it's my number 4. I just enjoy it. That's one of my favorite standalones so far. And like I said, I have not seen Ant-Man yet. Brian has. So, you know, I have a feeling it'll probably be my list, maybe. So, you know, I had to pick the ones I had seen. So, Brian, what is your number 3? Oh, it's Ant-Man. Shit. Wow. Okay. So, as a person that has not seen it, sell me on it, dude. Why is this in your top 5? Like, it literally just came out.
Dude. It was so much fun because listen. Okay, I love Edgar Wright. I love the dude, and I'm so excited to see him do this. Listen. Let me talk. So I was very hesitant about this movie. Of course, I was still looking forward to it. At first, before the marketing came out, I was like, I don't know. Then the marketing came out, and it looked freaking genius, and it looked like a lot of fun. And the movie was a lot of fun. I had a really good time with it. I was just entertained. I laughed a lot. Paul Rudd was genius. Michael Douglas was fucking great, even though I hate the man in real life, because he's married to the beautiful Catherine Zeta-Jones.
He's a good actor. Let's calm down.
No, he's a good actor, but I'm mad that he's married to someone that's like 40 years younger than him.
Brian, any guy with a penis is mad at him right now for that. So just, you know, set that aside.
Talk about family friendliness. Jesus, Chase. But no, like the movie was a lot of fun. It was very clever. It was like a heist movie, which made it so much fun. I just had a great time with it. And if I don't have a great time whenever I go see a Marvel movie, then it failed to do what it did. And this movie succeeded on almost every level. It's just the villain, to me, didn't work. Corey Stoll was great. His performance was great. It's just the character was kind of hit or miss. Some people might like it. Some people might not like it. I was very mixed about the character.
See, that kind of disappoints me because I fucking love Corey Stoll. Like,
no, he's great in everything he's in.
Because like the first time I was ever,
he's great in everything.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is that was the first time I was exposed to him was House of Cards, and he was magnificent. Like you you can argue that his character probably stole the show from season 1.
Well, I haven't watched the show, so I can't.
What?
I can't. It's too slow, and I don't like politics.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Why is it slow burn? Why is it slow burn? Why can't it be fast paced?
Because it's fucking political drama. It's not going to be fast.
That's why I'm not into political stuff.
Oh my god!
It's my age that are into politics. I hate it.
Listen, I'm not into fucking politics either. I fucking hate politics. But that show is intriguing enough to make you just want to be glued to it because people that love politics fucking act like that. It's incredible.
I'm sure it's very realistic in comparison to politics, but I just can't get into it yet.
Oh, man.
Maybe when I started watching it, it wasn't my cup of tea, but I'll try to start watching it again sometime in the future.
Okay, well, we're getting on a House of Cards rant, so let's get back to Ant-Man. Would you listen? I have to say this: people that don't want to see this movie because it's not Edgar Wright, listen the fuck up, please.
Please listen.
Who fucking cares? This happens all the time in the industry. Okay, listen. I like Edgar Wright as much as the next dude, but I'm not gonna fucking protest and wave my hands up in the air like a goddamn baby.
Even if this movie was looking like crap, I still would have seen it. Listen, it's Marvel. I support Marvel. I'm a Marvel fanboy.
Yeah, no, that's what I was getting at. Listen, I don't give a shit about the behind-the-scenes stuff. I really don't. As long as you have the product and you show it in front of me, I'm gonna judge it upon that. I don't care about the behind-the-scenes stuff. Okay, so if you're one of those people out there that are fucking wailing in the corner of your room, crying, just salty tears from your face because you can't stand the fact that Edgar Wright is not directing it, fucking get over it.
They honored him. They gave him screenplay credit. Just be happy about that, okay?
Just people that are bitching about it, grow the fuck up, please. This happens all the time in the industry. Get over it, okay? If you don't want to see it, don't see it. But don't say you don't want to see it because Edgar Wright said I'm not going to support. Okay? Like, just stop. Just fucking stop with your opinions. Jesus Christ. Okay. Back to reality, folks. Okay. So, Brian, would you say Ant-Man is like a pretty good blend of humor and drama? Because the one thing I've really liked about the trailers is that Scott Lang...
Humor or drama?
What?
I said humor and action.
No, humor and drama.
It had a pretty good blend of it, but if you were saying humor and action, it had a great blend of both of that stuff.
No, don't worry about the action. I'll get that in just a second. But I have to know, like, because the trailers... It's really interesting because Scott Lang's going to be the first person in this universe to have a child. Like, so he's got something to fight for. So would you say those aspects worked about the movie?
I thought it worked. It worked for me.
Perfect. That's all I need to know because Paul Rudd's a likable dude. Like
he's likable in everything he's in. And listen, this is somewhat interesting. I was watching an interview with him, and he said that every single role he does, he adds a bit of himself to it, and then he adds something original to it, and that's what I love about him so much. Like, you could see a bit of Paul Rudd in this character, and then you could see something different from Paul Rudd in this character. Like, that's the thing that was so good about his portrayal of Scott Lang.
Well, like, the thing is he's very likable, and he's very friendly and warm to where he could totally pull off that dad role with it, no problem. And okay, so as a superhero, does he kick ass?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, so the last question I have to ask, and then we'll move on to my number 3. Tell me about the action, because I've heard this is like the most spectacular like blend of unique action with like the way they just shot it and the way it was like just please explain to me like how awesome it looked when he shrunk down. He was fighting on like a molecular level.
So good, dude. It was so realistic looking. It was great, and that's the thing that Marvel is so good with their effects. They're so good with their effects and everything that it just works so well when he shrinks. Now, I didn't see the movie in 3D, and people say that when he shrinks, it looks great in 3D. Okay. So that's what I'm hearing, and it really is cool looking when he shrinks, guys. It's so good. There are moments when he shrinks quickly, then grows back quickly. Like, it's freaking genius. Like, I'm just like, they pulled this off really well. Like, they really did a great job of it. Peyton Reed, really, I praise the man. The guy who directed Brain It On directed this. Good job, man. big step forward. And by the way, there's only one more actor I have to mention because she is incredibly beautiful and she has to be mentioned every time she's in the movie. Evangeline Lilly, Chase, you know I love Lost. You know, listen, there was just one quick thing I had to say about her. Okay, she was the first official babe in my book. She's not the babe anymore right now.
Wow.
Chase, come on, you have to admit she's really hot.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. The first time I ever like saw her and like recognized her from her just fame and stuff, and finally getting to see her was The Hobbit, and I thought she was hot in that movie.
Oh, she was gorgeous in that.
Listen,
Fuck that Hobbit that got to kiss her.
Fully sell me on like a sexy elf. She's good. She's good in my book. So like she sold me on like a.
I don't buy the haircut though in this movie. I don't buy the haircut, but she's still hot nonetheless.
Sure. So
she has muscles. So that right there, that's.
Yeah, no, she's a very attractive woman for sure, and I'm a huge Paul Rudd fan, so I'm looking forward to it. So Brian, tell the people out there are 2 credit scenes, correct?
Yes, there's a mid-credit scene as always, and there's an after-credit scene. Do not expect this to be like Age of Ultron when there was no after-credit scene. Okay? All right.
Are you pissed about the end credit scene of Age of Ultron? Is that what you're telling me? Wow. Okay, you're a little silent. Okay. So that makes me super pumped because I'm seeing anime tomorrow, which I'll plug at the end of the pod or this episode for what's happening tomorrow. All right. So my number 3 is pretty obvious. Since I'm a huge Captain America fan, what the fuck do you think it is?
Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier, man. Like it's like what you said. It's a different type of movie. It can literally stand on its own as a thriller or as a political thriller or spy thriller, whatever the hell you want to call it. But I love the furtherization, the exploration of Captain America and Bucky and even Peggy. Peggy Carter's in it. Like there's so much more depth between Captain America and the people that he knows, and then we introduce Falcon in this, and he has that relationship with him. And I actually love the villain in this one, the Winter Soldier. And I'm not going to ruin the twist for you if you have not seen it or whatever, but he's a very interesting villain. It's very interesting to figure out like who he is and like where he came from and his connection to Captain America and why he's doing this. And fucking Hydra, man, like they're coming in this universe ever so slightly. They're just sneaking up. And they are literally kicking its ass because they are swarming this universe and taking it over. That's what Hydra's doing right now.
Thing about the Marvel Universe that makes them so good. It's so great that they're casting all these great, legendary, older actors. Anthony Hopkins, Michael Douglas, and Robert freaking Redford. Like, they're so good at casting these older actors, like these Oscar-winning actors. Like, it's so good how they're good with their casting choices.
Well, like, the thing is, I think Robert Redford he's a legend. He really is. He was okay in the movie. Like,
yeah, he's okay, but it's still cool to see him in a comic book movie.
But the thing is, like, I think you and I were thinking the same thing. This is not a spoiler because I'm going to just tell you right now. He's not Red Skull. I seriously thought at the end someone was going to pull his fucking face off and it was going to be Red Skull sitting there on the ground. I seriously thought that. But then again, you know, I'm kind of glad it wasn't because that would have been kind of weird. But Robert Redford was fine. But he's not like my main thing with this movie. It's just
no, same here.
Yeah, no, I love. It's really interesting because Captain has 3 relationships going on: him and Black Widow, him and Falcon, and him and the Winter Soldier. So there's 3 things going on, and it's really messing with his head. And he like the moment when the thing happens at the end. Like I said, I won't spoil. The thing happens at the end, and it basically crushes and crumbles his view on what reality and what life was. Basically, his whole life was a fucking joke and a dream at this point. When he sees the certain thing collapse in front of him, he's like, what is my life? What is my purpose here? Like, his whole life is shattered, and you can see that. So the sequel is better than the first one, and I love the first one. It's just a better exploration, better action, better villain. It's a better everything. It's one of the best of the universe. Faux show, son. All right. Brian. We're getting down to the top 2, man, the nitty-gritty. And the fact that you haven't said the Avengers yet makes me wonder that you're probably going to fucking say it in one of these 2 spots. So, Brian, what is your second one?
The Avengers.
There it is. All right, so tell me why I'm wrong and put it at number 5 and you have it so high.
like I said before, it was so much fun. It was great seeing all these characters on screen. It's one of the best superhero movies of the last 10 years.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's the best one of the decade. People can argue saying that it is the best superhero comic book movie of this decade so far. I would say that my favorite superhero movie this decade so far is the Dark Knight Rises, personally, because I love the Dark Knight trilogy so much. Joss Whedon, the ultimate geek fanboy, just knocked this out of the park. His writing was solid. His direction was so good. The movie is so fast-paced, and it's like 2.5 hours long. As with all these other Marvel movies, particularly Ant-Man. Ant-Man's going to be really fast-paced for you, dude. You're going to be like, that's it? It's over? Like, that's the thing with Ant-Man. All these characters did great. And, like, Mark Ruffalo, like, I mean, bringing him in, replacing the great Edward Norton, he was so good as Bruce Banner and the Hulk. And, of course, everyone complains about Hawkeye and everything. Like, yeah, Hawkeye, whatever. He got more screen time in Age of Ultron. That's what made it so much better. For him, at least. I just love the action. I love the visuals. I love a lot of the practical effects. Loki, I love Loki. He's a great fucking villain. He's not the best comic book villain we've ever had. Everyone knows what that would be. But it's a great movie. It's so good. I had a lot of fun with it. I laughed. I screamed. I was on the edge of my seat. Just a great time. Great time.
It's that's pretty interesting. I usually try to do this as the episode goes. I think me and Brian have the same number one.
Probably.
I think we have the same number one. I'm just going to throw it out there. And I honestly don't know his list. So I'm writing everything down, and I'm just kind of calculating like my list versus his and what he hasn't picked and what I'm assuming he probably likes. So we probably have the same number one. But for my number two, Brian said the Avengers.
Oh, boy.
He knows it, man. He knows it's coming, and I'm going to say it. Age of Ultron, folks, is number two for me.
That's it. I'm done.
Brian, no, come back. I would love for you to just ask me questions on why I love it so much.
No.
Okay, Brian's he's gonna go hang himself. All right, so here's why I like the sequel more than the first one. I actually like Ultron a lot. I think his development. No, hear me out. I think his development is natural. I think it actually makes sense for what he is, which is a fast, self-taught computer program. And when you look at it for a second time, like I watched this movie twice in theaters, and you realize at the beginning what he's asking Jarvis and stuff and like what he's trying to accomplish and stuff, it makes sense for what he pulls up on the internet. It makes sense for how his character is established. I love Vision. I think Vision is one of the best surprises of that movie. And I cannot wait to see what Paul Bettany does in the future. I love the furtherization of each character in this, and I love the flashbacks hinting at future devastation that these characters are about to face. This is the movie where it turns. The first one is very all fun, it's very playful, and this is the one where each character can look at themselves and go, holy shit, shit's about to get real in the future. I love the hallucination that Tony Stark had. I have to be really careful about what I say because this movie literally just came out 2 months ago, and I know a lot of people haven't seen it. So there's something at the beginning where Tony has a hallucination, but this isn't a spoiler because all of them have hallucinations throughout the entire thing. Tony's hallucination at the beginning kind of shook me a little bit. I was like, oh, wow. This is it right here. Like, there's no fucking turning back. This is what's going to happen. And it kind of makes you – there's like a pit in your stomach where it's like these characters are fucked. They are fucked for the very first time where you realize it and it lets it sink in. I love the relationship between Black Widow and the Hulk. I think it's natural. I think I mean, that's the best way I can put it. I think it's a good natural relationship, and Brian's dead right now. I think it's a great lead up into Civil War. There's just a lot of stuff going on. Like, listen, am I saying it's a perfect movie? No. There's a couple things I didn't really care for, but I still overall enjoyed it. I still loved the story. I love the villain. I love the stakes that were at play. I love the future hints at what's going to happen to these characters. Like, you guys realize in Infinity War, these characters are probably going to die. So watching Age of Ultron, their hallucinations, it kind of makes you worried. It's like the first time where you kind of feel worried for them. That's why I love Age of Ultron. And plus, James Spader as Ultron, I like him better than Loki. He's one of those villains where like he's sarcastically funny, but he's also got that evil side where he can turn on you really fast, where he'll have that dark humor, but then he'll flip and then he'll be like, I'm gonna kill you with this lead pipe. So like, I don't know what to say about it. I like the first one a lot, but I love the second one even more. And I can't wait for future Avengers movies. So Brian's been very quiet. Brian, I'm going to let you take the floor now. You can ask me questions. You can rant on why I'm wrong. Please go ahead.
Listen, I didn't hate the movie. I just didn't love it like I wanted to. It was my second most anticipated film of this year behind Star Wars. And I was expecting something great because the trailers were fan-freaking-tastic. And, I mean, not that the movie wasn't dark. It just wasn't as dark enough as I wanted it to be. Like, I still wanted it to be fun and funny and energetic, but I wanted it to be very dark. That's what I wanted. While it had its very dark moments, it just wasn't as dark as they wanted it to be. I thought that they cut out too much stuff. I don't like how they jumped into Ultron right away because I felt like he was just a little too rushed. That's how I feel. I'm not saying your opinions are wrong. We all have our own opinions. That's how the industry of film works, people. So, like, I hated Quicksilver. I'm sorry. I hated the accent. I'm sorry. I don't think Aaron Taylor Johnson pulled off the accent that well. Elizabeth Olsen, though, pulled it off really well.
No, and that's the thing I'll give you is that, like, I didn't really care for Quicksilver. I like Aaron Taylor Johnson as Kick-Ass more, for me personally. Right. And I love Scarlet Witch. I think she's a great addition to the universe, and I think I'm really curious to see how she's going to take it because she's the first one to kind of interweave magic and like telekinesis and shit before Doctor Strange. So it's interesting that like she's the first one to kind of introduce this power, and her character is just going to be more developed as the universe goes on because of certain events that happened in the sequel to where it's just going to fuel her to fight for justice. So yeah, Scarlet Witch is a great character. Quicksilver, not so much, but you know, to each his own. So Brian, continue.
I saw it twice like you, and I just felt the same way the second time. I wanted more of the relationship between Black Widow and the Hulk. I wanted more of that because I thought that worked really well. I was just disappointed with it. I gave it a B+. That's still a positive and fresh rating.
Believe it or not, I think I gave it the same score as you. I gave it like an 8 out of 10. You know, because the thing is, you're right, and I will agree with you on that. Is there's a lot of ideas presented in this. There's a lot of storylines presented in it, and you kind of wanted a little bit more of each because there was so much in there that was interesting. You just wanted a little bit more from each of the storylines, which I totally did.
That's why I was disappointed with it.
Yeah, no worries. Listen, dude, I don't fucking care. Like, there's plenty of people out there that rag on me for liking American Pie. I don't give a shit. So
they what?
People rag on me for liking American Pie. So I basically just
I love American Pie.
At this point, I just say, who fucking cares? I stand by what I say of Age of Ultron. You guys have to keep in mind I have not seen Ant-Man yet, so who knows? I could switch it out. I don't fucking know. But at this point, this is my list. Now, Brian. At the same time, let's say our number ones because I'm pretty 90% positive we have the same one. So
all right, count it down.
All right, so 3, 2, 1.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's fucking right, ladies and gentlemen. Shit, man, I don't even know what to say about it. You go first because you'll probably say most of the points, and I'll just reiterate what you say.
Okay, here's the deal, people. This is Marvel's funniest movie to date. It was so creative. Who the fuck knew what was going to happen with this movie? There was a lot of people hesitant about this movie before they even released footage. Once they released footage, they're like, oh my god, this looks pretty cool. Then everyone sees the movie, and it was pretty and it was fucking cool as fuck. Like, it was so fucking good. It was so entertaining. It was so original. The comedy was amazing. It made me laugh consistently. The cast was fantastic. Chris Pratt, man, You're a fucking genius. Okay, you are so good as Star-Lord. Zoe Saldana, you are hot and still kick-ass as Gamora. Batista, brother, you were so good as Drax. Vin Diesel, you're a fucking tree. You're a tree, and you killed it. And Bradley Cooper, a raccoon. Who would have ever thought that Bradley Cooper was ever going to play a raccoon with a fucking, like, New York accent? I have one flaw with the movie. We'll talk about that later on. And I still have a flaw with the movie. The action is great. I really am pissed off of myself for not seeing this in IMAX. You saw it in IMAX. I'm aware of that. I didn't, and I'm really pissed off about it. James Gunn's direction and script. I believe he wrote it with someone else. I don't remember the person's name on top of my head. But everything about this movie just works so well. Like, it's just a very different movie from Marvel, and it was perfect. And I got this random poster. Like, I know it's a little hard to see. It's like a parody of the Star Wars poster.
Oh, that's cool, man.
I got this when I was in Boston. It was so it's really cool, dude.
That's really cool. Yeah, no. Where to begin? I have to say this: that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 might be my most anticipated one in Phase 3, besides Infinity War and Civil War.
Yeah.
Just because I'm curious to see where they're going to go. And you're right. Who would have fucking thought that Bradley Cooper was going to play Raccoon? Brian, throw me my gun.
Here.
Throw. Okay. Oh, yeah. Like, it's such a great voice for a raccoon. And Vin Diesel as a tree, it's one of his best performances since Iron Giant.
Oh, my God. One more thing. The fucking soundtrack.
Oh, the soundtrack's amazing. It's 80s glory, just like
the best movie soundtrack of 2014.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. I don't even know where to begin. The action and the humor and the drama work so well. It's a very well integrated type of film to where they pull from different genres and it just works for the type of characters. And you guys got to keep in mind, this is the first one of this franchise. So this was not an origin story. We kind of were just dropped into the middle of this movie with these characters, and we kind of just learned about them as the movie went, which I fucking loved. It's great. It's a refreshing take on the origin story. The effects were outrageously good. I loved all the practical stuff in it. And even all the CGI stuff looked really good. It was just a really fun space opera. It was just something so unique and so fresh. And you're right, Chris Pratt, man. He's a good leading man. I've always been a fan of him ever since Parks and Rec. He kills it in this role as Star-Lord. And it's not just his humor. I have to be honest. Like, his character and how he treats women and how he really cares for women because of, his mom and stuff, it was kind of touching. There was a couple moments in there where you're sitting there going, well, damn, Star-Lord, fuck, man, you got some emotion behind you. There's a lot more to you than your fucking snarky side. So I loved it. And, yeah, you're right. Batista as Drax. It's so good. John C. Reilly's in it. He's also great in everything. John C. Reilly is fantastic. Glenn Close is also in it. She's pretty good. The only complaint I really have, and this is a complaint among most of Marvel movies, and I don't know if it's Brian's complaint, but I'll say it, is Ronan the Accuser. He's the villain. He's the villain in the movie. And listen, I think he was good. He just needed to be a little bit more. Like, I wanted to know a little bit more about him. I wanted to know a little bit more just what he's doing and stuff. Like, he's just kind of there. He's like, I'm evil, and he's kind of Thanos' puppet, which I will have to admit. Even though I didn't like Ronan the Accuser, I love that scene between him and Thanos. That was pretty good. The best line was when Thanos was like, I will bathe the starways in your blood or whatever. It was, it's so chilling. I can't wait for Infinity War. But yeah, Ronan the Accuser was underdeveloped as all hell.
But his performance was pretty good. Lee Pace, I think, did a good job. I didn't like Nebula, personally. I didn't like her. I thought she was over the top. Yeah. Honestly, Ronan was underdeveloped, like you said, but I think Nebula was really annoying. And
I didn't find Nebula annoying. I kind of thought she was
just too over the top. She was like, huh, like she was very motionless.
I know. I think she was very perfectly sprinkled throughout the entire movie, because you're right. If there was any more of her, I would have gotten annoyed very fast. But I think establishing her and having her fight Gamora was needed to a certain extent. So yeah, you're right. I'd probably take Ronan over her any day. But then again, they're both just kind of useless. I really wish Marvel would just develop their villains a little more. That's why I think Ultron works for what he is, which is a fucking computer. Computers adapt and they change and they evolve very, 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 very fucking fast. That's why I totally agree with Ultron's transformation that quickly. But Guardians does have that issue of villains and stuff. But like I said, I just love the camaraderie between all 5 of those guys. Like, it's basically like a mini Avengers movie in space. And it's an origin movie at the same time, but it's not an origin movie that bores you to fucking tears because they just plop you in the situation. It's great. And then you learn about these characters. You learn that there's more to them than meets the eye. I just love the fact that they're all kind of misfits, but they all kind of just agree at the very end, like, you know what, fuck it. Like, we want to save the world. I really fucking hate all of you, but you guys are my friends, and I'm going to stick by you. Like, that says something, it's more realistic. Like, it's not like super Hollywoodized. It's like, these people don't really like each other, but they know that they have to stick together and conquer the world. So, Guardians of the Galaxy, man, it's fucking awesome, and I cannot wait to see the sequel. So,
one question. What is your least favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe film?
Listen, I'm just going to address the black sheep in the family. Everyone goes to Iron Man 2. I don't think Iron Man 2 is bad. It's just kind of like a bland sequel. There's really I don't think anything like bad with it. It's just kind of like there it was. If I had to pick one, listen, I poo-pooed on Iron Man 3 for like the longest time. I rewatched it. It's not that bad, but I still hate certain aspects of it to a point where like that would probably have to be my least favorite is Iron Man 3. So, I mean, that's probably because I'm not going to reveal the twist or why I hate it because it would ruin everything. It's kind of like one of those things where you watch it and you're kind of like, I don't know, man. So, I don't know, man. It's a tie between Iron Man 2 and 3. So, that's what I'm going to say. So, what about you?
I don't hate Iron Man 2. I hate when people say, oh, Iron Man 2 is just not very good. Do you mean like it's an awful movie or just an okay movie? People are never specifying whether it's a bad movie or just okay. That's the problem when people I know Spider-Man 3, excuse me, is crap. I'm aware that it's very crappy, but people never say if there's anything good about it. People just make it seem like there's nothing good about it at all. And that's the thing with Iron Man 2. Like, there are some good things about Iron Man 2 and Spider-Man 3. My least favorite, I hate to say Incredible Hulk, personally. I like it very much. I loved Edward Norton. He's great in everything he's in. I just didn't care for it. I actually haven't rewatched it in a very long time. I think the last time I saw it was when it was released on DVD, and that was like 7 years ago. And I know William Hurt's character is coming back for Civil War, but I don't know.
I mean, here's the deal. Like, I don't really remember much from Incredible Hulk either.
That's why.
But the thing is, like, it's like what we stated when we started filming this episode is that all these movies are relatively good. And there might be some that are kind of like less exciting than others, and we can find certain aspects that we like about each one of them, and then we can find certain aspects we don't like about each one of them. That's what's kind of hard about picking a Marvel list because that's just the way it goes. I can't wait! I can't wait until we do DC, and I can say that Man of Steel is my favorite because it really is, and I can't wait to piss off the internet. Anyways, I see Brian's so on it, but yeah. So that's it for our top 5 list. So I have to ask Brian the question that is on everyone's mind. You can only pick one Phase 3 movie to watch. All the rest you cannot watch.
You gotta list them for me. I don't know every single one by heart. You gotta list them for me.
Okay. All right. So hear me out. Civil War, Doctor Strange, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Inhumans, Infinity War Part 1, and Infinity War Part 2. I believe that's it.
You're not counting the Spider-Man movie?
Oh, yeah, Spider-Man, sorry. I knew I was forgetting one of them.
Oh, this is tough.
Only one, Brian, and that even goes for Infinity War. You can only pick part 1 or part 2 if you so choose to go that route. This is tough. Look at this.
I would go with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one too. Shit, we just said that. Okay. Wow, so out of all of them, that's the one you're going with.
It's a really tough one. It's really tough. But since Guardians is my favorite Marvel movie so far, I kind of have to pick the sequel.
Oof. See, that's what's really tearing me apart because I have 2 Captain America films on my list, and so my gut reaction is to do Civil War.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be a really epic Captain America storyline, but at the same time, I really want to see how this thing plays out in the end with Infinity War. So, but then all the standalones, I'm really curious about Guardians of the Galaxy 2, no doubt, but I'm actually really, really fucking curious on Thor Ragnarok. Because Ragnarok means apocalypse, so you know shit's going to go down in that one. Fuck, man. I go with Infinity War Part 2. Because at least like at that point, like if I couldn't watch any other movie in Phase 3 and I watched that one 4 years later, I'll kind of just get to see the end of this entire like universe that they set up for this entire like block before they move on to new people. So it's hard to choose, man, but I probably have to go with that just because I want to see how they end this storyline. So, but a close second for me would be Civil War, and then I'd probably go Guardians, Thor. Yeah, that's probably it. So, oh my God, dude, that was fucking difficult. Wow. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, for this episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live. Tomorrow on my channel, I will have another episode of Real Me and Cole, the movie podcast, where I'll be reviewing Ant-Man, and I will also have a bunch of trailers that dropped. I'm talking about you, The Revenant. I'm coming after you. Oh, I cannot wait to talk about you in such a glorious manner. And of course, movie news and all that stuff. So that's what's gonna happen tomorrow. So yeah, I want to thank Brian for coming on again. And as usual, Brian tells the peeps out there, that would be you, what next week's episode is. So Brian, what is next week's episode?
It was really hard to pick an episode for next week because there's so many movies coming out. So in honor of Pixels, we're gonna do our top 5 Adam Sandler films.
There we go. And I'm 95% sure we're gonna have at least 2 of them on there that are the same because it's arguably the only 2 that people really like. You don't know which ones I'm talking about? That's okay. Tune in next week, right? So yeah, another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live. Next week we'll be doing Adam Sandler for in honor of Pixels, so that will be fucking lovely, I guess, because I'm sure we'll have some interesting choices on our list. Because that's the thing, like Adam Sandler's a hit or miss. So because Brian knows one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies, but he doesn't know if I'm going to put that as my number 1 or if I'm going to put a comedy as my number 1. So it's a fucking mystery, folks. Fantastic. So I know Brian's going to be contemplating all week. So tune in next week for another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live. I am your host, Chase Lee. Brian, where can people find you online?
Twitter at BrianSuts98, Instagram BrianSuts98, and YouTube.com/Brian Sutfield.
Awesome. And all of his links will be in the description below. All my stuff is in the links in the description below. The beginning song is by one of my friends' band, and his link for his band is down below as well. So we will see you next week. Brian, you want to say bye to the peeps out there?
Adios, people.
All right. So we will see you guys next week. Let's play the outro music. Oh, I can't wait to see Ant-Man. It's going to be fucking glorious. Yeah!